defense in Game 2 against LSU?
It was a sort of an uneven performance. I felt like for the first 20 minutes, first couple of drives, we have a 3-and-out. Really, 2 straight weeks we could have gone back-to-back 3-and-out to start the game, but a defensive penalty keeps them on the field. I felt we started the first couple of drives, though, tentatively. You know, we were waiting for someone to make a play. There was a couple of balls in the air. The first really 2 balls they pushed down the field. We sort of had a guy right there, and we sort of stopped, you know, right before, you know, instead of just playing through, potentially breaking the pass up or making an interception. Then when they went up 14, then I thought we panicked for a couple of drives. I thought then we were pressing to make a play. And that's where we saw guys hopping in and out of each other's gaps. Our tackling deteriorated, you know, because we lost the trust of leverage and our teammates. And quite honestly, we were fortunate that it was only 14 at that point. But then some way there, midway through the second quarter, it just seemed like we settled down. And we realized, we just took a deep breath, we realized that we could play. And really from that point on, we really played a pretty clean game, save for the one drive in the second half. And I really felt that the guys saw that when we just played and everybody didn't, you know, they just made the play that came to them and didn't worry about making a play. I thought they realized that they played pretty well. So it was disappointing we put ourselves in that hole, which ultimately turned out to be too far of a climb to overcome. But I think they saw in terms of the way that we finished the game that there's some things there that if we can just, you know, start the game the way that we finished, that we can take some positives out of it.
What are some of the takeaways that you've been reminding the guys of this week to carry on into the rest of the season?
Well, it's that word trust. You know, you have to trust your technique. You have to trust your teaching. But the main thing, you got to trust your teammates. And again, whether that means if the ball is on my right shoulder, that I keep it on my right shoulder, or if I'm a B-gap defender, I stay my nose in the B-gap because I know that here comes this guy to come fill A-gap behind me. So that idea that, you know, our strength comes in our numbers, you know, and everybody hunting together. And I think when they saw that, they understood that all of a sudden they didn't even go forward. They really went backwards a lot of times. And so there's a lot of good things in that I think that we can build off of.
How do you feel about the linebacker play so far in the first couple of games?
I would say I've been really pleased at Richie Brown's play. I think he's played at a very, very high level these first 2 games. And I think Beniquez Brown is right there with them. I think in terms of, you know, what's happened between the tackles inside, I think both those guys have been really, really solid at the point of attack. Having to play a bunch, and I think they both played at a very high level. So they're both excited, but in terms of the way they've started the year, there's still things we have to clean up, and we're not. You know, they have eventually transformed now into where they've got to be the guy, and they can't play good for almost all their snaps and then have a couple critical errors. They really got to do it the whole time, and they understand that. So, but they feel good about where they've started, and I think that's been a big part of sort of the core of our defense. You know, you've heard a million times, you got to be strong with the middle, and I think they both have been contribute to that.
Obviously, Richie has started this year, but what do you think is the real difference with 22 tackles already in 2 games? We only had like 39 last year.
Well, A, probably the at-bats. B, the type of games that we've played in. You know, that game was sort of rock'em sock'em robot for 55 running plays. The Mike linebacker should have, you know, a collection of tackles. And but I also do feel like there's something, you know, that I think the guys understand that schematically we're trying to be more active at linebacker and having to get those guys involved on more hits on the ball carrier and be around. Our Mike and Will linebackers should lead the team in tackles. That's just no matter who's playing that position. So I think they understand. I think that was what they got in the offseason, that their role was going to be to be around the ball a lot and to make a lot of plays.
How does facing Northwestern State last year help you in kind of preparation for them, and kind of what do you remember about that game?
Well, I know that they're a well-coached football team. I know they have a tough mentality on offense because they have they have an offensive line coach's mentality on offense. It was a game where we were coming off 2 big wins, and it came home for our first game, and I felt like we let the moment get to us a little bit. You know, guys started again trying to do too much and trying to put on a show, and they, to their credit, they kept plugging, kept fighting. We turned the ball over 5 times and had 2 basically turnovers on special teams. We tried an onside kick that we didn't get, a surprise onside kick, and we roughed the punter. So there were 7 times that we had to go right back out and play defense, which was very difficult. But to their credit, they that's a big time rivalry in that state. It's an old time rivalry from when both teams were in the same division, and and then again they found a way to get us at the end. Going forward, you still know some of their personnel. You know some things from a coaching standpoint that they want to do, and and you can tell the guys. You say, hey, look, this wide receiver, he's an outstanding player. And and other different types of their personnel. So you've got a little bit of an idea of what they look like when you see them in person.
Gary got more reps in there this last week. What did you see from him on the film?
What was really exciting to me is that there's a drive in the fourth quarter, and we just gave him a critical third down, one of the few we did there, and when Harris scrambled. And then the next play, they had a long run that was called back for a holding penalty, and our guys were kind of gassed. You could just tell. That's kind of why the run went out. And we threw, it was Des Harris, Gary Green, and Dre Ward were our three linebackers. And first down, second down, they ran it right at him. And Dre Ward made both plays. Gary, forced the ball to Dre there, right where they need to be. And it might have been JT Gray that was in there as well. I can't remember if it was JT or Des, but and then we got him stopped on third down. And so, to me, the confidence in terms of those guys. You can just talk about being, participating in the game, but to take reps, and just taking snaps, but to me, to take snaps in that crucial point in the fourth quarter where we had no margin for error, any other score was going to put really the game out of contention. That was a big moment, and we made a big deal of that on the sideline. That hey, now you've gone in there in a big time game and made a stop in the fourth quarter. That's something that you can, gain confidence and build on going forward.
How eager are you to get some of those younger guys some extended reps in live games?
Well, that's just for us to be who we need to be. That's what we have to have, And but at the same time, we're still trying to hold. You have two choices. You can bring the bar back down to them, or you can try to continue to hold it up and make them have to reach up and climb and jump over it. And we're not going to budge. We're just not. We have to continue to make these guys understand they have to earn the right, because a lot of our, a lot of those guys have only been on this campus now for a year and a half. A lot of those guys, they don't know anything but 10-3. So they just assume, hey, I redshirted last year, and it was fun and college game day and whatnot. Now it's my turn. I just step on. No. Christian Holmes redshirted when I was here the first time and was a backup last year. Jay Hughes redshirted. Matt Wells were redshirting when I was here the first time, and those guys played big-time roles a year ago. So, just as ideal, I just walk in and, and it's just time for me. If we lower our standard, that's going to hurt us going forward. So there's a balance. They got to play, but they got to earn it as well.
When you talk about the gap control and getting ball carriers a certain direction, is there an effort to have Richie as a guy that, obviously it's based on what the offense gives you, but is he someone you want making tackles?
Well, yeah. The way it all begins is you want your defense tackles making tackles. They're the ones close to the ball. But the way that the offense is going to block everybody up. Certainly with our, you want your defensive line to attack, and you want your linebackers to sort of feed off the scraps. But we want to be aggressive. We want to be around the line of scrimmage. We want to try and get to the ball carrier before he's got a chance to get going. Which, again, we showed that in glimpses the other night. So the Mike linebacker, yeah, he's a guy. He's going to be inside of the ball. He's going to be sideline to sideline the whole night. And then you got a Will beside you who's going to line up in the boundary most of the time. And so all he's doing is, if they're running at him, it's a short side of the field. They're running away from him. The guy's got to chase the ball down from the backside. So those are two positions that we expect a lot out of, a lot of production out of.